welcome to Turn Back the Clock. As you can see behind me, we're not in our usual place. We're down at the mall at our exhibition Moccasins and Michelins, and when Michael, Merrick, and I were discussing this week's show, I thought maybe some of you were not able to get down here because of the flu or because of some other reason, and that maybe you'd like to have a little look at what we had in our show on the history of roads and road transportation. So that's what we're doing today. Michael has taken video shots of a lot of the photographs in the show, and they'll be interspersed with the bit of talking that we do. Last show we had Alex Forde and Ron Butler here. They were the curators of this show. They did all the research, they did all the artwork, they did all the text, and in a 6-month project they came up with something that's been very successful. We're in the middle of the second week of the show and over 2,000 people have seen it, and many of you have come back again and again, and we're very delighted with the response. What the show is, for those of you who haven't been able to come in and see it, is a look at how roads got to be, starting with the Native Indian trails, going through to the pack trails that led to the mines and the Fur Brigade trails that were used by the Hudson's Bay and the Northwest Company, and then into wagon roads that were used to bring the ore down from the hills or lumber from one place to another, then through to the actual roads, construction that could take cars, and then into the modern highways that we have today, including a look at some of the regional really big projects like the interchange in Nelson and the Nelson Bridge and the Salmo-Creston Highway and some of those. As well as this, we have a small history of cars, buses, trucks, and even Greyhound, which Canada Greyhound began in Nelson. And then we have a look at the development of the streets of Nelson, because the physical characteristics of Nelson that were there when the people first came are almost not there anymore. And it's very hard to know unless you look at old maps that Ward Street was divided the town in half with a large creek that had above Mill Street about 5 different arms of it that led off in all directions. And there's a history of that with a lot of good early photographs of the bridges and the early town site and how it developed. So this is what there is to see. As well as that, there's lots to read, some funny stories. There's some great stories. I'll tell you a couple. One of them was about Caddy Donaldson, who had a car in Salmo, and he was an object of great curiosity and interest. And one old-timer kept pestering Caddy to teach him how to drive. So Caddy said, okay, I'll teach you how to drive. And they went round and round the main downtown area of Salmo. And finally, one day, Caddy figured this gentleman that he was teaching was doing well enough that he could leave him on his own. So he just hopped off the car. And the man went round and round and round. And I guess he had completely forgotten how to stop the thing until finally it ran out of gas. And then he never asked him again if he could drive it or anything. He'd learned his lesson, because I guess everybody in town was laughing at him. There's some other good stories about buses. One of the stories about that one of the Greyhound drivers told was about an old lady out in the Slocan Valley who always liked to be let off right at her fence, and then she could walk up her driveway with her grocery bags. Well, this one particular day he didn't stop by her fence. He stopped down the road a little bit, and she was very, very annoyed. And he put her groceries down, and she put them right in front of the bus. She said, no, I want you to let me off at my road. And he got off the bus, moved the groceries to the side, and got back on, and she ran out and put them back in front of the bus again. So finally he ran over her groceries. Well, that afternoon when he came back down the valley, the bus was suddenly pelted with rocks, and he looked to the left, and there was this lady with a great pile of rocks firing them at him. She was still mad at him a few hours later. So we have heard some great stories in this whole setup of this show. There's been some pretty wonderful cooperation from people. A lot of the photographs that you will see have come in from archives in the region and from private citizens who knew about our project and who we heard about, and we've had great cooperation from the Department of Highways and from all sorts of people, and way too numerous to credit. There's some cartoons in the show done by Judy Malloy and Rick Sapella. There have been some wonderful models, which I hope we'll have time to photograph before we close up. So for those of you who weren't here, this is what was here. And for those of you who were, this is just a little reminder of what you did see when you were here. So I hope you will enjoy what you see today and that you will come back down to the mall again and see it. We close on the 21st, and then the photographs and items that are in the show are probably going to be traveling to area places like Salmo and Caslo through the next few months.